congratulate everybody for coming out and joining this protest, and also to thank you and congratulate you for all the action that you've taken over the last 3 months, which was much needed action in response to the government attacks on our terms and conditions, our pay, our pensions, our jobs. And I want to thank the reps, who've worked tremendously hard to build for that action. So congratulations everybody. Yes! Yes! And a cheer for everyone. Now people are taking action across, PCS members are taking action across the UK today, across nations, across England, taking the protests in different ways at different times up and down the country. And we've chosen today, because it coincides with teaching unions, the NASUWT and the NUT taking strike action in the Northwest. So we've chosen this day to give solidarity, but also to look at what happened in the CSR announcements yesterday, in response to that. And what we've seen from that is even more attacks on public service workers, on people across the board, the most vulnerable people. And we can see from those announcements that it's going to impact on the poorest in society, the most deprived people in society. It's going to further discrimination in the UK, but there's a particular impact on us as PCS members because they've announced between 6 and 10% cuts to department budgets, and that includes BIS and that includes HMRC, which includes all of us, of course. So we're already struggling. People are having to do the work of 2 or 3 people. We're already under attack and under threat. So imagine in 2015, 2016, when they introduced these further cuts, what's that going to mean for us? Are we even going to have jobs? What that tells us is that we need to fight back. We need to continue the campaign, and we need a strong campaign. They've also talked about getting rid of our performance pay, which is an absolute disgrace. Now, if they were going to get rid of performance pay and say we'll all go on to the max of the grade as soon as we start, then that's fine. But that's not what they're saying. So in reality, what that is a pay cut in real terms. They've also said they're going to continue till 2016 the pay freeze, or the limit of 1% to our pay, which we know is already a pay cut. We know that PCS members are struggling to make ends meet. We've heard tales of people having to go to food banks. Ordinary working people. We're not talking about just unemployed people. Ordinary working people having to go to food banks. People are turning to these horrific payday loans because they can't make ends meet. We're hearing of mothers who are having to go without meals just to feed their children, and we need to fight back against this government. And today kickstarts, it launches a programme of consultation with PCS members over the summer on the next stage of our action. So I would encourage you all to engage with that consultation, to share your views frankly, to express what's happening to you and get involved when that consultation process starts. We can't afford to do nothing. We know we're in a really hard battle, hard struggle with the government that we've got in power and the attacks on us. But we have to also remember that all of those people that are impacted by their attacks, we all make up the majority. We are the 99%, and we need to use our people power, to fight back. Not just as trade unions, but back in our communities, the places we live, the service users of the services we provide. On Saturday, I spoke at the People's Assembly, which attracted 4,000 people, and it was agreed going forward that People's Assemblies will be set up in local towns and cities across the UK, and I'd encourage people to participate in those People's Assemblies. Because I think what those People's Assemblies need to do is to reach out to those people who aren't taking action, who haven't got actively involved in anti-cuts activities and campaigns in their local areas. It means getting into mosques, getting into churches, getting into community centres, going to service users, going to those communities that are hardest hit and getting them involved. Because I think if we can get everybody that's impacted by the cuts, which is the vast majority of people in the UK, then we can win the battle, and we have to win, because we can't go on like this. We can't carry on with the government trying to drive us underground. Effectively, what this government are trying to do is kill us through poverty. That's the way I see it, and we need to fight back. We can fight back. PCS should be very proud of the work that we've done as a union to stand up against these cuts, but also to try and bring others with us, working with all the anti-cuts groups out there, working with other trade unions, encouraging other unions to get involved. Say solidarity to NUT members and NASUWT members who are taking strike action today, and the fight continues. Thank you.
Bill, do you want to say a few words?
Hi, my name's Phil. I'm a regional officer for the National Union of Teachers here in London, and I'm really delighted to be here today. Two reasons. One, to tell you about the action that is taking place in the northwest of Lancashire, Cumbria, Cheshire today, which has been fantastically well supported by our members, our sister union, the NAS. And secondly, to say that your fight is our fight, because the things that are happening and have happened to civil servants are happening to teachers, and if it's happening to teachers and civil servants, it'll be happening to the whole of the public sector and working people in Britain generally. I want to tell you a little bit why we're on strike today in the Northwest. First of all, and you'll know about this, it's pensions. The tax on our pensions. Teachers expected to work until they're 65, so it'll be a change of role really in teaching, where the teachers will have to put up their hands to ask the kids if they can go to the toilet. Absolutely ridiculous, expecting people in a highly stressful, highly concentrated environment like a school to work to the age of 65. Higher pension contributions, lower pensions. It's a story you'll be familiar with. Secondly, massive attacks on teachers' pay. Teachers currently have pay scales. You move from one point to the other automatically, and wherever you work, when you move from one job in one school to another, you take your pay with you. Gove wants to abolish that. He wants to introduce a system where there's no automatic progression, where you can start at the bottom of the scale as a newly qualified teacher and not never, ever progress from that point onwards. It also means that you can be at the top of a scale, working in a school here in Camden, and you apply for a job in Greenwich or somewhere like that because you're moving or whatever, and they don't have to offer you the same rate of pay that you are at the moment. And this is, according to Gove, about encouraging excellence. Well, how do you encourage excellence? By cutting the pay of teachers. How do you encourage people to stay in a profession that is absolutely vital to the future of our kids and the future of this country by cutting their pay? And Gove likes to dress it up in that way. It's about encouraging excellence. We all know it's about cutting costs and attacking the National Union of Teachers. Because in exactly the way that Osborne and all the other ministers see PCS as an obstacle to their change programme in the civil service, they see the NUT and the NAS as obstacles to change in the teaching profession. So it's not only the issues of pay and the issues of portability and issues of pensions, it's also about privatisation. We're seeing an enormous expansion in the number of academies. Now you might think, if your kids go to an academy, what's the difference between an academy and a local authority school? The difference is there is no accountability. The people who run the academies, people like Lord Harris from Harris Carpets, companies like that, have no interest in education. They are in it for one reason and one reason only. It's about profit. At the moment, they can't make profit. But Michael Gove has signalled quite clearly, if the Tories win the next election, they are going to introduce